Hello ladies, MBs and gents. You may or may not be aware that getting paid for gigs is very rare for original bands and artists, at least in the UK. I'm not especially optimistic about turning that paradigm on its head anytime soon, but something I have been wanting to do for a while is to compile a database, likely in the form of a spreadsheet, of venues and promoters who pay original bands and artists for playing. I think such a database would be very useful for bands and artists who are booking tours, or bands and artists who are just starting out and want to get off to a good start. I'd most likely create subcategories of paid gigs, i.e. venues or promoters who pay a set fee, venues or promoters who pay bands and artists an equal cut of the door takings, venues or promoters who will pay bands and artists something towards fuel. I'm not going to include venues and promoters who pay per head, i.e. we'll give you £1 for every person you bring, or such similar. I've been involved in a number of discussions over the years about ending pay to play and such similar, and they've usually involved little more than talk. There's been talk of naming and shaming and boycotting pay to play venues, but they rarely seem to make a dent in that particular model of gigging. Bands and artists have persisted in playing these sorts of shows either because they're simply too blinkered to see how pointless it is, or because they simply see no other options available. I've come to the conclusion that the best option available is to compile this database. That way bands and artists will at the very least have the option of booking some gigs that will at least pay them something. There are potential difficulties with such a database in that it may be difficult to keep up to date, what with venues changing hands and changing promoters and changing policies very often, but nonetheless I still think it's worth a try. So if you know of any such venues and promoters, please let me know about them. The sort of information I need: 1. The location, i.e. venue name and town. 2. The deal, i.e. is it a set fee or a cut of the door or just money towards fuel. 3. Any genre limitations, i.e. is it a metal night or a punk night or an acoustic night, or do they put on a variety of acts. 4. Up-to-date contact details, i.e. phone numbers, email addresses, social media, etc. Such an idea could be the first step in moving towards paid gigs for original bands and artists being the norm. Please note, this isn't an attempt to start some kind of argument about playing for free. I've heard every single argument imaginable on the subject, resplendent with all manner of creative analogies. This is rather an attempt to try and do something positive that could help both bands and artists and the venues and promoters that support them. Thanks for watching.